Welcome back everyone to another exciting classic car deep dive here on VeloView. Today, we are going back to 1960 to talk about a car that wasn't just a mode of transport, but a cultural revolution on wheels, the Citroën DS19. This car wasn't designed to blend into traffic, it was designed to stand apart, to look and feel like the future. More than 60 years later, it still looks like something out of a dream, a car that could have easily rolled out of a science fiction film instead of the streets of France. When it was unveiled in the mid-50s and carried into the 60s, the DS stunned the world. By 1960, it had already made history, not just with its appearance, but with its radical engineering and daring approach to comfort and innovation. The first thing anyone noticed about the DS was the shape. It had a body like no other car of its era, sleek, smooth, and futuristic. Where most cars of the time were heavy with chrome, flat sides, and predictable lines, the DS was fluid, sculpted, almost organic. Designed by Flaminio Bertoni, an Italian sculptor turned automotive designer, it carried the grace of modern art more than the stiffness of mechanical engineering. The front tapered like the nose of a shark, the roofline floated elegantly, and the overall silhouette made everything else on the road look dated instantly. Even in 1960, people would stop and stare, and today, if you parked one next to its contemporaries, you'd swear it was from a different decade entirely. But the DS was far more than just pretty lines. It was a car built around technology that most of the world wasn't ready for yet. The most revolutionary feature was its hydropneumatic suspension system. Unlike traditional springs and shocks, this setup used hydraulics and compressed nitrogen to create a self-leveling, height-adjustable suspension. What that meant in practice was that the DS seemed to glide across the road, ironing out bumps, potholes, and rough surfaces in a way that felt closer to flying than driving. Imagine riding over cobblestones or dirt roads and barely feeling a thing. That's what made the DS so special. Drivers could even adjust the height manually, lowering it for highway cruising or raising it for rough terrain. And in one of its most famous demonstrations, it could keep driving even if one wheel was removed. This kind of engineering in 1960 was so futuristic that rivals couldn't even dream of matching it. Under the hood, the DS19 wasn't about brute power but about smoothness. It carried a 1.9-liter four-cylinder engine making about 75 horsepower. On paper, that doesn't sound like much, but the car wasn't designed to win drag races. It was designed for effortless, refined cruising. The engine was paired with a semi-automatic transmission that used hydraulics to manage the clutch, so drivers shifted gears without ever touching a clutch pedal. It was a quirky system, one that required some getting used to, but it reinforced the DS's reputation as a car unlike any other. Step inside, and the sense of the future continued. The interior was spacious, airy, and filled with light from its big glass windows. The seats were wide and soft, built for comfort on long drives through the countryside. The dashboard carried a minimalist, clean design, and then there was that steering wheel, a single-spoke design that looked as if it had been borrowed from an aircraft. Everything about the interior made you feel like you were piloting something advanced, something more than just a car. Citroën designed the cabin to make the driver and passengers feel at ease, to make every journey as relaxing as possible, and it worked. Driving the DS was an experience all its own. On the road, it didn't behave like a normal car. It floated smoothly, it cornered with poise thanks to its suspension, and it inspired confidence even when the conditions were rough. The stability and comfort it offered were so good that it became a favorite in long-distance rally racing, especially in punishing events where durability and handling mattered more than outright speed. The DS wasn't a sports car, but it was tough, and it proved itself in the real world. The DS also gained fame for its role in saving lives. In 1962, during an assassination attempt on French President Charles de Gaulle, his DS was riddled with bullets and had its tires destroyed, but the car's suspension allowed it to keep running, speeding the president to safety. That single event turned the DS from a marvel of design into a national hero, a symbol of resilience and brilliance in engineering. Innovation didn't stop with the suspension. The DS was one of the first production cars to come with disc brakes, improving stopping power dramatically at a time when most cars were still on drum systems. Its aerodynamic body not only looked futuristic but also made it more efficient and stable at higher speeds. Everything about it was forward-thinking. And the fact that Citroën dared to mass-produce such a bold design proved that they weren't afraid to push the boundaries of what a car could be. Of course, no legend is perfect. The DS had its quirks. The hydraulic system, while incredible, was complex and could be intimidating to maintain. Leaks were not uncommon, and in the hands of mechanics unfamiliar with its advanced technology, repairs could be tricky. The semi-automatic gearbox, while fascinating, wasn't to everyone's taste, and some drivers wished for more power under the hood. But despite these flaws, the DS charmed owners with its character and unmatched ride quality. By 1960, hundreds of thousands of DS models had been sold, and its popularity only grew as Citroën continued to refine the design with new features and more powerful engines. But that early 1960 version holds a unique place because it represented a turning point in automotive history. It showed the world that cars could be both beautiful and technologically daring, that they could be designed not just as machines but as visions of the future. Today, the 1960 Citroën DS19 is cherished by collectors and enthusiasts as a piece of rolling art. It's a car that you don't simply drive, you experience it. Every time you take it out, it turns heads, starts conversations, and reminds everyone who sees it that once upon a time, Citroën dared to dream differently. It wasn't just a car for its time, it was a car for all time, one that continues to inspire designers and engineers even decades later. And that's why the Citroën DS19 remains one of the most important, innovative, and influential cars ever built. It broke the mold, it redefined comfort and design, and it became a symbol of forward-thinking ambition. It wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be. Its imperfections only add to its charm, and its brilliance continues to shine through the years. Thank you so much for joining me here on VeloView as we looked back at the 1960 Citroën DS19, a car that truly changed the world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the greatest classics ever made, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more incredible automotive stories. This is VeloView, and I'll see you in the next video.